Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for this month's Year of Kindness, monthly kindness circle with our very special guest, Sandra Yancey, the founder of eWomen Network. For those of you who don't know, my name is Mary Beth. I'm Jill's assistant, and I'm here to support Jill and every single one of you today. First, allow me to introduce you to Jill. Jill Lublin is an international speaker on the topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She is the author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, Guerrilla Publicity, and Networking Magic. Her latest book, The Profit of Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories. Jill is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is the CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with over 100,000 people, plus the national and international media. Jill teaches a virtual publicity crash course, and she consults and speaks all over the world. She's spoken on many stages with luminaries such as Tony Robbins. She also helps authors to create book deals with major publishers and agents, as well as to obtain foreign rights deals. So without further ado, Jill, take it away.
Thank you so much. And again, welcome, welcome. One can never welcome too much to kindness, correct? Right? So this is your moment, your day, your hour of kindness. And I hope that it always continues in every moment for each one of you, because my quote for the day for you is kindness is love made visible. Take that one in. And so we center ourselves today in this moment. And my request for all of you is that we're going to say the word kindness. Just, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it inside of you. Speak it inside of you. And we're going to actually speak it out loud as the community that we are. And those of you listening to the recording, do it in this moment too, and feel and generate for yourselves that feeling of the word kindness spoken inside of you and then manifest outside of you in every moment in conscious acts of kindness. So I invite you in this moment, we're going to count to 3. You're going to take yourselves off mute. And 3 times, we're going to repeat the word kindness. Okay? All right, everybody, get ready. 1, 2, 3.
Kindness.
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 Beautiful. Whew, that sounded great. That sounded better than happy birthday on Zoom, didn't you think? All right. Thank you for that. That was really beautiful. And a couple of different things. We're going to send you a link to super fun cards. They're completely free. And they say, you matter. And I'm going to invite you to pass those cards to anybody you want. You can easily print them in your printer. And they don't have to be fancy, and they say 2 words, you matter, because you do. And so when you start giving that to everyone, what you're going to notice is that that multiplies the effect of kindness. So I invite you to pass that along, and we'll send you that link in just a bit, okay? So super excited about that. And then I also, my friends, am super excited today to bring you a most wonderful woman who I've had the pleasure of being in her organization, of speaking on her stages at eWomen Network, of calling her colleague and friend and mentor, Sandra Yancey. And I'm super excited to have her talk to you today about kindness, which is what she walks, who she is, and a wonderful inspiration to me in my life, and has helped me grow my business. So I want her to share about kindness in particular today. And I want to tell you a little bit about her. First of all, Sandra came from, well, she's from Dallas, Texas, and she literally bootstrapped this business like in her garage above her suburban home in Dallas, Texas. And today her company, eWomen Network, is a multi-million-dollar enterprise with over 500,000 women connected in 118 chapters spread across North America. And then besides that, Sandra is an award-winning many things, but let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, she's been recognized by the International Alliance for Women as one of the world's 100 top difference makers. And then check this out, by CNN as an American hero, because she has started a foundation which has contributed many hundreds of, I think maybe even millions, but of dollars to all kinds of organizations throughout the world. So she's a CNN American hero. Sandra's also been selected to be on The Doctor's Show and many, many other national and international media. We want to welcome Sandra Yancey. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Jill. It's so kind of you to ask me to share this time with you and all the lovely people that you have joining you today. I'm honored. I really feel honored. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so part of it, did you want to ask me any questions, or would you just like me to dive in?
I want you to just dive in, because
Okay.
you're always so amazing and inspirational. So I want you just to dive in and take center stage.
Okay, and then you just cut me off, or if you have a follow-up question. What I love about you, Jill, is that I feel like you're a girlfriend, and so just that lovely banter that we have when it's just the two of us on the phone is something that I also invite all of your participants to be able to bear witness to. So I just first want to say good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I feel like I am in a safe community. Yvonne Bastian, somebody who I dearly love, Carolyn Andrews, Rowe, Couture, Desaro, I should say, Amy Leah, Tammy McDonald, Talmar, so many people on this line. So we do share clearly similar communities. And I think that starts with kindness. I first fundamentally feel that, you can't give what you don't have. So kindness for me starts with being kind to yourself and having some self-compassion when you feel like you could have done something differently or handled something better or said something in a different way, when your intention, doesn't match your impact, and there's this disconnect. So there's some self-compassion, I think, that is important in understanding and embracing kindness for yourself. So kindness all starts, in my opinion, with you. If you can't be kind to yourself, I don't think you can give it to others. It gives you not just sympathy for others, but empathy, when others that are going through something that maybe you haven't gone through, you can empathize at least with where they're at. I always like to say that when people are being unkind, that basically sometimes it is that they haven't been a student of kindness. I think kindness is something that you study. It is a skill that you acquire. It is something that you can get better at and better at. And when people are unkind, my mother used to say that whenever you blame or criticize or lash out at other people, it's really revealing a truth within yourself. But where I'm kind about that is, instead of holding that person in judgment, I can tap into my kindness and say, she or he simply aren't educated enough to be able to handle the situation better. And it allows me to be that much more kind and forgiving and not retaliate to other people. So all of these, I think, are ways in which if we take care of ourselves and understand what really kindness looks like for us, we can then see it and extend it to others and be, I think, more kind and forgiving to others who aren't kind, right? I had an incident within this last week of somebody that was, madder than heck at me for holding a live event. And instead of saying, well, we're in different places about that, and let's be honoring and supportive of our different choices that we as adults are making, and not be so in judgment of, you are only entitled to my opinion, right? And instead of allowing that, she just got very angry. And what I realized what was important to me was that I not match tone. And I also, a way of being kind to myself is I don't engage with people who are committed to misunderstanding me. Do you see it? I think that elevates that next level of discord. So instead, for me, and everybody's different, but I might meditate or go into prayer or, just maybe journal and allow myself to pour into, the forgiveness that I feel for someone who, through no fault of her own, she maybe simply have not been exposed to. She didn't know about this opportunity that we're on today. Through no fault of her own, she just doesn't have the skill level to be able to manage the situation differently or in a way that would cause me to be able to feel comfortable engaging in a conversation. And so instead of being in judgment of her, I felt a sense of sadness that it was a missed opportunity, but I also didn't feel like I was responsible for being the rescuer of it either, right? And setting myself up for, a negative banter, particularly if it's on social media. That to me is just internet reality television. And when there isn't the benefit of the natural exchange of communication, and when you've got the written word, we all know, right, that people can attach their own meaning. I don't know if I have these statistics exactly correct. You could probably Google them, but I think communication falls into the effectiveness of communication, if I'm not mistaken, falls into three things. So it's the words are like 7%, right? The tone of voice is like 38%. And what's the balance? 55% would be body language, if I've got that correct. So for example, you could take one word, right? So we could take the word O-H, right? And we could go, oh, right? And you would probably interpret that with everything that you hear as maybe I just remembered something, right? Or I could go, oh, same word, said completely differently. You've got the body language, you've got my tone of voice. Now you know I'm hurt, right? Or I could look at something and I could go, oh, you might say, she's definitely looking at a piece of chocolate right now. Right? Or my husband of 42 years, whichever one, right? And that is speaking to love, but you've got the benefit of the same two-letter word, right? Two-letter word, and you've got the benefit of hearing everything. And the problem sometimes I think with social media and even email, right? And certainly all of our written communication that we send out to our prospect and customers, our list, our email list, our community, is very important. I learned in just being on radio for 8 years, a national radio show. I mean, they grilled us about the whole notion of they can't see you, Sandra. So they've got the benefit of your words and they've got the benefit of your tone of voice. But remember, body language was like that 50-50 or 55%, if I've got that correct. So how do you use your tone of voice to demonstrate, a body language that people can then infer correctly? So if you're a podcast host, this is the very important training for you. If you're doing any kind of radio interview, or I've even done television interviews where they put my picture up, but they don't actually have the camera on me. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're hearing me with this static picture. So learning that communication, how you communicate kindness, is really important. And that's why I'm very careful. I mean, I just personally have adopted that I'm going to embrace kindness at all levels. This is my personal choice, and that doesn't mean that you have to agree with it, right? But I just make the practice of I am not you'll never see me put a negative review on a Yelp or a Google. I just don't put negativity out in the world. I just think what you put out is what you attract. And that's just a fundamental belief I have. What you think about is what you bring about. So that's all how you talk to yourself. Those messages, those morning messages that you have every morning, I think are really important on how you set up for your day, because how you start your day defines your day. What you think about is what you bring about. Where your energy goes is what grows. And I just know that if I put a negative message out there, that negativity has now bottled up in me, and it's hard to me. It's not a release. And so for some people, they feel like if they vent it out, but you have to ask yourself, who's the recipient of that? Is there a better way to manage it so that no one feels stung or hurt by things? So that doesn't mean I don't have my fair share of complaints or issues or poor service or whatever. It's just how I choose to manage it. I mean, you could do a search on me. You'll never, ever see me put a negative review on anything, put anything negative on social media. And, for those of you that have businesses and want to grow your businesses, what I will tell you is, from my own experience on, being selected as the transformation expert on the doctors, some new work that I'm getting ready to start doing with Stedman Graham. I mean, people are doing due diligence on you, and seeing if how you represent yourself to the world outside of, being kind and nice on the phone. Is that a consistent theme? Do they really want to associate with you over the long term? And I just don't want to feed into it. But it's also an energy that I just feel is toxic and just not worth it to me.
I love that, Sandra. And I think it's so important on what you're speaking out. And I appreciate that. You told me this beautiful story about your mother, that something she taught you when you were 5. Would you share that? I just thought, I was so touched by that.
There's so many of them. Which you want to give me a few words?
Something about it, putting a coin in your hand to give away, even though you had no money as a family.
Okay. Yeah. So you remember that. We haven't talked about that in years, Jill. But my mother, so I was raised I'm first generation American. My father was French Canadian. My mother was from Mexico, Hispanic, but my mother, from a race perspective, was half Black and half white. And she was raised in an orphanage, actually in a convent. I didn't learn until within the last 10 years that it was actually not an orphanage. That's what she said. And as she became very sick, she clarified some things for me. The nuns took her in after her parents were killed in a car accident, because it's a really uncool thing about 88 years ago to be a mixed race child in Mexico. And so when her parents died, none of the family wanted her, and she was raised by the convent. Back in the day when you spent most of the day silent, and they taught her how to sew. And when she was able, she crossed the border and came to the United States. She went to Detroit because that's where GM was building, and she knew that there would be professional men. And my mother made men's tailored shirts with French cuffs. She's a master seamstress. So I look back, she was an entrepreneur her whole life, interestingly enough. And so she never ever, I don't know that my mother could pronounce the word actually till her dying day, entrepreneur. It was a pretty complicated word when English isn't your first language, but she never defined herself as a business owner. And she met my dad, who was a construction guy. And so he had his own dysfunctional family, evidently in Canada. And he, what do two dysfunctional people do, when they're single? They find each other. That's what they did. Have you ever noticed that? They find each other, and but they knew they wanted something different, for their lives and for each other. And unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. My father died instantly in a car accident when I was 5 years old, on my birthday. And my mother raised us as best that she could, and primarily on welfare. I had a brother who was just 13 months older than me that was born with a hole in his heart next to his aorta. And, back in the 50s. And I think Ricky was born in 59. He subsequently also was killed instantly in a car accident when he was 27 and I was 26. And that's a whole nother story. But my mother raised us on welfare. And I didn't know until I was in my 20s that those men that came in suits to our house once a month and always had do you remember, they still have, Whole Foods still has them, but the grocery bags, the brown grocery bags, and it was always filled with food, and the Wonder Bread was always sticking out the top. And I heard the term breadwinner somewhere, and for a million years thought those were guys that won the groceries. And my mother just had the hookup. And they would bring groceries. I was in my 20s when I finally asked my mother, who were those guys, by the way? And she said they were from the church with St. Vincent de Paul, bringing food to the poor. But I always loved it when they came. It was the only time my mother propped me up on the counter and I got to bring out the Spam. You remember the cans of Spam and Kraft macaroni and cheese, and but I loved sitting on the counter and helping taking the items out. But my mother was a very religious person, as many Hispanic people are. We had holy water in the house, candles, for and our family that passed and that she burned every day. And but she always had enough money to we would go to church to put a coin in our hand, and I always got the nickel, and I loved the nickel because it was so much bigger than the dime. And so I thought it was more valuable, and the penny, I was like, I've got the big money, you know what I mean? And my mother would often, we didn't have washers and dryers, and so we went to the laundromat, and my mother would often ask us to look in the seats, the back seats of the laundromat, because coins would fall back there, and that would determine how much drying we got. So sometimes she would bring back the clothes wet and we would hang them in the backyard. Remember those clothes hangers with the clothespins? Those of you, how about, do you remember the round ones, that were square and they twirled and that kind of thing? And so we would hang them, or sometimes if we had enough coins, Mom would run them until they were totally dry. But my mother just always felt that she always wanted to instill that no matter how hard things were, if you dig deep, you will always find a way. And there's always a way to give. There's always a way to find that penny, that nickel, that dime, the quarter, whatever it was that she had. She always put something in our hands so that when the basket was passed, that we participated in giving, and that you give without remembering and you take without forgetting, so you're always in appreciation, you're always in gratitude, you're always thankful for what you receive. But that giving isn't really the tit for tat, quid pro quo, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That is a part of giving, but giving at its real core was when you could help someone whom you will never know and who can never pay you back. That was that giving at the deepest, heartfelt level. And so have always known that. I've just always known there's a way to help other people out, for sure.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. I love that story, and I think it inspires all of us to keep giving. And I love that thing about, give, say it again, give without
remembering, right? And take without forgetting. Yeah, it's a great one. It's great it's a kindness theme, isn't it? It's really another level of you matter. That you were talking about earlier, which is what I love, is that, it's a form of being visible. You also were saying that kindness is love made visible, but you don't always have to know who you're giving to. It's kind of like, do I have time for one more story?
A quickie, yes.
A quick story. I was in a rush. I was going through McDonald's. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I was going through McDonald's, and I'm a Midwestern girl, and we don't eat our hamburgers with ketchup and mustard. So I always tell them to hold the ketchup and mustard and to put lettuce and tartar sauce on my cheeseburger. And I went through, and I got out, and I noticed that they didn't have the tartar sauce, just the lettuce. And so I got back in line, because it was that important. So I got back in line. Long story short, I got there and I said, hey, I'm back in line. I'm not ordering anything. My cheeseburger didn't have the tartar sauce. You can give me a separate side of tartar sauce. That would be really great. And I got up there. They were so apologetic that they handed me a coupon for a free cheeseburger. And I thought to myself, it's my big issue with the country, how every time somebody does something wrong, we've developed this whole thing of, aha, you owe me something, as opposed to just being kind and saying, it was a mistake, no big deal, it's all right, I'll be fine. And I just said, I'm fine, I've got my tartar sauce, could you please give that and put it towards the person behind me? I mean, I'd like for us to really stop this whole thing. If somebody makes a mistake, and I don't care if it's at the airport, I don't care where it is, that all of a sudden you get something, and it will start with us to say, it's okay, we all make mistakes.
Wow, thank you. It kind of gives new meaning to hold the pickle, hold the lettuce.
I know. There's a place called Frisch's in Dayton, Ohio, and that's how they serve their hamburgers. That's how I was raised. So my mother could make mayonnaise and chop up pickles, and that was cheaper than buying ketchup and mustard. You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to try that sometime.
It's actually really good. It's my guilty pleasure every now and then.
Oh, I love it. Sandra, thank you. As always, you are inspirational. You are motivational.
Oh.
You know, you really walk a path that I think is such a beautiful model for all of us. And I know that people are going to want to stay connected to you. Mm-hmm. Do you have some way that they can stay connected to you? A free gift?
I do. So I've actually got a gift for you. Many people know that I have journals. I've been a journal writer my whole life, and I have 7 or 8 of them going at a time, as opposed to one every year. I just, wherever it inspires me. And so I have created these, what I would call kindness messages. And it speaks to kindness is love made visible, right? And it really speaks to, it starts with you. And so if you are so interested, I have created what I call these morning messages. I don't want to call them meditations, because in their truest sense, they're not meditations, but they are morning messages. And they are recorded audio in my voice, and they're on the website, eWomen Network, eWomenNetwork.com. They're on there right now. I'm going to leave them up for today only. For those of you that want to go get them, they're right on the home message, and there's 7 of them. And they say 7 kindness messages to start your day with joy and abundance. And what it is it's just a message that you listen to as you brush your teeth. You don't have to be in the position, but just take it in, and you can download them, have them in your car, because it's how you begin, how you start your day and begin your day defines it, as I was saying earlier. And, it really sets you up for, I think, receiving and managing your day when things don't go right. You have your choice on how you're going to react versus respond. And so there's 7 of them, 1 for each day, and you can listen to them, every day if you want. And I picked the ones out that I felt really tailored to your conversation, Jill. So, one of them starts with discovery consists not in seeking new lands, but in seeing with new eyes. Today, give yourself the gift of new eyes by having a new perspective. For example, those difficulties you have right now in your life aren't happening to you, they're happening for you, because every struggle in your life has shaped you into the person you are today. Every pain makes you stronger, tears make you braver, and heartbreaks make you wiser. And it goes on. So that's a sample of one of them. So if you want them, go get them today. They are yours, my gift to you, at eWomenNetwork.com.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. And Mary Beth has posted in the chat the direct link. go click it now, my friends, go get it. And thank you, Sandra, for your generosity as always. And I would love to, shall we say, have you give us a question. We're going into breakout right now.
Okay.
And I want you to give us a question. We're going to have 12 minutes in breakout, about a minute and a half per person. What question would you like them to answer?
Given what you've heard today, what are 3 things that have popped up for you that you have said, I can start to implement or integrate this or amplify it in my life today, starting today, not something you got to start tomorrow, but starting today when you're done with the call, here are 3 things I'm now becoming aware of that I can do, start implementing and do better, start making progress in today.
Oh, thank you. All right, before we go to breakout though, can we give her jazz hands and gratitude?
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Julie. I see more people have joined that I know since I first started. So nice to see you all and some new faces and new connections. It's really been my honor. Thank you so very much, Jill. You know, I love and adore you. Thank you so much for including me in this most important message.
Thank you, Sandra.
Okay.
Mwah. Thank you.
Mwah.
All right, and everybody, you got 12 minutes of great fun. Answer her questions. We're going to send you to breakout rooms. Shortest hair, you're the timer. Longest hair, you're going first. We're going to send you to breakouts. Figure about a minute and a half a piece. Let's go share. We're going to keep the chats open in the breakout. Share your connections, and we'll see you back here. Have fun, everyone. All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's put everyone on mute. Spotlight would be great. I'm just so excited to welcome all of you back and delighted, and hope you got some great connections there and good discussion for yourself. And we are going to go into another breakout in just a moment to ask you to connect, give and receive to one another, right? And actually pass leads and referrals. There's 2 things though I would like to ask for before I actually send you to breakouts. One is special prayers for me, please. I am tomorrow putting my sweet Starlight to rest. And so I would love some beautiful prayers and hold her in light. She is Starlight. So that's going to be happening tomorrow. And of course, you know, it's not an easy thing, as you all know, anyone who has had pets. So, and also have prayers wanted for my dear friend, Gloria, who's 88. We've been friends for over 30 years, and she is also in her transition, probably any moment now, any day now. So I would love and request prayers to those 2 beings, wonderful beings who've been in my life for many, many years. Then on the business side, I'm going to invite you to something I'm very excited about, which is a new program I'm doing called the Publicity Breakthrough Summit. It's super fun. We're going to have panels. We're going to have hot seats. We're going to have ways that you can actually pitch the media, and then lots of breakouts and actual get it done, interactive fun exercises. So whether you've been in my publicity crash course or not, this is going to be a whole nother event. And we're running a super early bird special, like $47. It's crazy, it's wild, but it's my first program in this, and I want to offer it to all of you at that super duper fab price. And Mary Beth is going to post it in the chat. It is an early bird and it ends on Friday. Okay, so please go register for that. Let's continue to rock your publicity. And as you all know, kindness and publicity are very related, because the more kind you are, the more publicity you're going to get, and the more people will remember you. So super excited to launch this and giving all of you a really, really great opportunity to come in at a very affordable rate. And what I'd love to do now is send you all to breakouts. And what you're going to do in those is give and receive. So what does that mean? It means that the person speaking, you're going to say, here's what I need next. Like I asked for prayers, right? Maybe you need that, but maybe you would like some referrals, and tell them what you do specifically, and ask for one kind of referral that would support people to support you. Okay, so that clarity is really important. And then the people in the circle, you're the givers. So you can chat with that, please do. Your chats will be open. And also just a reminder to all of you that we have a skill set sheet, which tells who you are and how we can refer you. So Mary Beth, post that in the chat because we want to make sure that they're filling in the skill set sheet so that each of you know each other, okay? Now in this breakout, you're gonna have, let's do a minute apiece, just, you know, and then you can chat afterwards. I always like to give a little, what we call a little extra fudge time, right? So that each one of you can have just a little window of possibility of connection afterwards, okay? So 1 minute apiece. Person with the longest hair, you're gonna be the timer this time. Person with the shortest hair, you're going first, okay? Ask for one thing, great referral. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Have fun. Click join. All right. Are we all back, Mary Beth? Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I know we usually have more time for some sharing. I'm just glad that you all got to share with each other, and I wanted to give you the maximum time in your breakouts instead. So I just am so grateful that you're all here today, and so delighted for Sandra sharing, and so delighted for each of you sharing with each other. And I invite you to continue to practice a conscious act of kindness. And then additionally, my friends, I want to remind you about Jewel. And Jewel said, in the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. Mwah! We'll see you next month with Bob Berg. He wrote The Go-Giver. You're going to want to check it out. And I'm so grateful that all of you are joining us. We'll see you next month, and keep being kind. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much. This was beautiful. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
You're so
Janice.
welcome.
See y'all.
And loving thoughts for you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. I received those. Thank you.